Welcome to That's My Opinion Pod. I'm your host, Fede Iglesias. It's another week with another great guest. I have Bravo headline news with us today. I'm so excited to have her on. I mean, I know Salt Lake City's only been on for what? I think it's a second episode, but it's still a great season so far. I'll be surprised if it doesn't stay a good season. So we're going to start strong with breaking down our opinions on Salt Lake. And then we'll get into OC. We will be obviously discussing the recent drama, at least a little briefly, because I think it's so connected to this week's episode. So we'll be getting into all of the things, and I am so ready. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, I'm so happy to have you with us today, and we got to start with the questions. It's the big one. It's the way we're going to get to know you. The first one is, what is your favorite Housewives franchise of all time?
Well, if you had asked me that a year ago, I would have said New Jersey. But this year, New Jersey is not even on my list. I would say Salt Lake City is number one. I used to love the original New York. I'm warming up to the new reboot.
Yeah.
But I would say New York was and used to be my all-time favorite, but now it's Salt Lake City. Like, I can't miss a minute. I have to watch it again to just pick up all the little details. The drama those ladies are throwing out, it's epic.
Impressive.
It's
It's
like
impressive.
beginning all over again, but more and better and not hurtful, so hurtful that we're worried about, the impact it could have on their children, as far as I can remember anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, next very important question. Who are your top 5 favorite housewives of all time?
I would say Sonia Morgan, Nene Leakes, Sutton Strack.
Ooh.
That just came to me. I don't know why. I am also enjoying Heather at Salt Lake City right now.
Okay.
And Bryn from the new reboot is on that list. And I would also, just because she is an OG and she's controversial, but I enjoy Lisa Rinna. She brought us spikes to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and we're still talking about her to this day. So that's to me.
That is a very good point. Okay, next question. What is your favorite non-Housewives franchise on Bravo?
Vanderpump Rules, no doubt. Followed closely by Below Deck, I would say. I'm very invested with Vanderpump Rules. I feel like we've all been there. We've all worked in some kind of, job early on in our lives, that we had a family where we were close with people, and it really resonates with me. And especially with the Ariana arc over the years, to see it sort of come to this end, I'm even more invested.
Love that. And then who are your top 5 favorite Bravo celebrities?
Ariana, Andy Cohen, for sure. What's her pickle from Below Deck? And I can't remember her name at the moment.
Aisha?
Yes, Aisha.
Yeah.
I do like Captain Sandy,
Yeah.
Katie, and Paige DeSorba.
Yes. People always say Paige.
Yeah.
Paige always makes the list.
Just her fashion, and she really has a presence on camera. She really knows how to
Captivate
your attention. Yeah, I enjoy her.
100%. So before we get into breaking down the episode, can you tell us a little bit more about Bravo Headline News, your Instagram page, how you started it, what it's all about? Give us the breakdown.
Sure. I started it back in, I think, January of this year. And, I'm a former journalist, so I missed the day-to-day rush of chasing stories and verifying sources and just keeping on top of, what people are watching and talking about. And I have always been obsessed with Bravo, anything Bravo, for a long, long time. So I really had no, close friends to talk about the ins and outs of the Bravo world. And soon, once I got into following a bunch of content creators from the Bravo world, I thought, okay, I should give this a go, because it sort of fills the gap from my old world and old life. And now I'm following and chasing Bravo stories. So my Instagram page is more or less sort of, breaking news updates to, fallout from different episodes of The Real Housewives. Like this weekend has been a busy weekend with the ongoing back and forth between Ryan and Tamra from The Real Housewives of Orange County. But I
Yeah.
also like to do some editorials and content that's sort of a commentary on some of the choices that Bravo
Mhm.
makes and
Yeah.
the fallout from all of those choices. So, yeah.
Very interesting.
Hmm.
I love it. No, your page is great. I'm so happy that you're on with us today. So now it's time to get your opinion. Now, Salt Lake City. One of the interesting points that I saw was Heather's hesitancy towards Bronwyn.
Mm. Mhm.
What was your take on that situation? And do you think Bronwyn is a flip flopper or a people pleaser?
No, I think Bronwyn is like strategic. I think Bronwyn has had the advantage of watching last season and how all of the housewives of the cast members from Salt Lake City reacted to Monica and the whole shakedown of that situation. So, and of course, she lives in Salt Lake City, so she had a front row seat to
Yeah.
the real story. And probably there's more to it than we all know from just watching it on Bravo. But certainly, I think she's making decisions and um, using her time, especially in the beginning, to establish herself as sort of a safe space for each housewife so that they
Mhm.
feel comfortable sharing with her. I mean, that's a strategic thing to do when you're coming in after a season like last season with Monica and the drama that, came about with all of the secrets and the
Yeah.
receipts and all that stuff. So that's my,
Agreed. That's very interesting. I thought it was interesting that we see her in the car saying, like, I was super confused by when she was saying, do you want to see the healed Whitney? Like, that was kind of cringy. I was whatever. And then we did actually see clips of her saying that to Whitney's face, which I appreciate and makes me think that she isn't either a flip flopper or a people pleaser. I think she's just really opinionated. I think we saw it from the first episode. She came in strong and was getting her hands dirty with the drama and was like trying to mediate things, which I thought was very interesting considering it was really her first, probably official introduction to the group as a whole. What are your feelings towards Bronwyn so far?
I think she's super confident in herself.
Hmm.
I love a confident woman
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying her. I think she's taking risks and she's putting herself out there. Her,
Hmm.
fashion choices are
Hmm.
just an example of that. But
Yeah.
that confidence is, I mean, I wish I had that confidence to be able to just enter a new group of, friends and be myself. And I feel it's authentic. Like I don't get a vibe where she's pretending to be rich and wealthy. I
Yes.
think that's a
Agreed.
real, like,
Agreed.
compared to Jen Shaw, let's
Yeah.
say, I didn't always
Agreed.
get those authentic vibes from Jen
Mhm.
Shaw about her wealth. So
Mhm.
I feel like, I mean, she's being herself and she's not being apologetic for it. And I also appreciate that. Sometimes people like that will rub people the wrong way,
Mhm.
but it's better to be authentic and real than fake and rehearsed like Tamara on Watch What Happens Live last week. Like,
Agreed.
you know,
Agreed. I do completely agree with you. And then in the next part of the episode, we have Angie and Lisa's sit down, if we can call it that. That was like a drive through.
yes,
Um, right?
yeah.
What did you think about that conversation? I was so confused by it. I was just like, this is a whole miscommunication that I was honestly struggling to even follow.
I think that Lisa needs to work on her listening.
Okay.
She's not a very good listener, and we've seen
Mhm.
it. That's it's a pattern. Like when
Yeah.
she's confronted, especially with some like criticism or feedback that she
Mhm.
doesn't want to hear,
Mhm.
she shuts down and she just
Oh,
starts talking and she doesn't
yeah.
listen.
Sure.
And I think if she were just to slow down, like I know we all have different ways of reacting to
Yeah.
criticism, Um, but this season in particular, after again the Monica experience, I'm a Monica fan, by the way. I miss her. I wanted
Are you?
like I still think she's a part of this new season. Honestly, I think we're going to hear more about that, what happened in
Yeah.
the past. And we're seeing it with Heather and how she's suspicious of Bronwyn.
Yes. Yes.
So,
No. She's left a long-lasting imprint on the
right?
Bravo universe, I think.
Yeah, and I think she's going to have a comeback. I even heard Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live. He was asked who he would prefer to have back, Jen Shaw or Monica, and he said Monica. So
Agreed. I mean, that's a
thought,
good
yeah,
choice
right?
too.
She was
Yeah.
very real. But back to
Yeah.
Lisa, yeah, she just needs to
Yes.
stop talking,
Mm-hmm.
stop de- deflecting,
Mm-hmm.
and start listening, because what Angie was saying, it was actually about that, about her talking over people.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it to Angie at the table. I mean, she didn't
Yeah.
even drink her drink, as far as I could
Yeah.
tell. So it
Yeah.
was all about reacting and defending instead of listening and comprehending
Mm-hmm.
and trying to work out and listening to her friend and
Yeah.
in terms of how she feels.
Wow.
Listen to her friend.
Yeah, no, that it's very interesting. And then in terms of Lisa as well, you have the Whitney and Lisa situation going on. And Whitney is saying that Lisa is mad at Whitney's feelings. And I personally don't follow that logic. I don't think it makes sense. Being upset at someone is very different than calling them a villain. For example, I could be upset with you, I could be angry at you. When I call you an asshole,
Mhm.
we're no longer really talking about my feelings. Now we're talking about the characterization I'm giving you
Agreed.
in my reaction to those feelings.
Yeah.
And the fact that Winnie, like, I don't know, like, isn't with a therapist that is explaining that to her kind of concerns me and makes me question, how good this healing journey is going for her.
Mm.
But I just can't wrap my head around the fact that Whitney struggles. She did end up apologizing, but she struggles to understand that things aren't always how you feel. And also, how you feel is different than what you're name calling
Yeah.
or your reactions to things,
Totally.
And she's just is very immature.
Very immature. It's a really good word. And I don't know if it's when the cameras are on, if that's a choice she's making to play dumb
Mhm.
and to not have any emotional control over her emotional. Like
Mhm.
we all have, we feel things, and we're all, sensitive to a certain degree, but we also all have jobs and lives and children, responsibilities and expectations that we all have to get through on a day-to-day basis. And we just can't say that hurt me. You're not taking, you're weaponizing my emotion, like all of that stuff. It's a little much. Like,
It is.
oh,
One of the things I noticed that she uses feelings as a shield to protect herself from any accountability.
yeah,
So
I
it's like
agree.
I can't be accountable for making you upset because that was how I felt. It's like,
I agree.
no, you
Yeah.
called her a villain. That's not nice. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're upset at her, even if you have maybe justification for calling her a villain, you can't then get upset for her feeling offended by that. It just
Right.
makes no sense.
Exactly. And then that person becomes, a victim. Oh, you're, targeting. It's like,
It
also,
defeats the whole purpose.
Whitney is doing a little producing in her head. She's always done that. She's
Always.
kind of like looking to see what kind of reaction she can get out of all of the women for TV, I believe.
Yeah.
I just feel like sometimes it's a little overreaction and trying too hard to have a storyline. Too hard.
Yeah. She's overly produced.
Yeah, totally.
Which, by the way, I don't not like her. I just wish I could get a different side of her.
Right. I don't like the fact that she's always got a product that she's like talking about or on Instagram about it. It's a little much. And I know it's part of Bravo and the Real
Yeah.
Housewives, but there's a way to be a little subtle about it.
Yes.
Don't have to be Happy Hilton about that, but certainly I think there is a way to be subtle about it.
I do agree with you. I also, yeah, I think it's part of the, you get on these housewife shows and you want to make as much money as possible and as easily as possible. And it's a great way to do it. But I think sometimes when you use your platform and the viewership just for yourself,
Yeah.
that's my red flag. For example, Heather Dubrow is very good at publicizing things because she does her own stuff, but she also does for the community.
Yeah.
And that balance makes us believe her and listen to her. And we're captivated when she's promoting something because we know where her heart is. But when
Yeah.
it's just like, my new bath bomb, I knew this, I knew that. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your take on bath bomb gate?
Oh God. Well, I haven't done the research. I'm going to be completely honest. And I
Okay.
liked all the facts
Right.
before I make
Yeah.
public opinion in the
Very fair.
name of Bravo headline news. So
Very
I
fair.
know Whitney has said that she launched her whatever line. There's so many
Yeah.
now. Skincare line, right?
Yeah.
With a bath bomb. I need to know if that's true. If that is true, and you know what? Later today, I'll probably find out and put it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
But
Send it to
if
me.
that is true, then okay, fair game.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that Whitney chose to relaunch the bath bomb product,
Yes.
which has been around, if her story is accurate, for a number of years.
Yeah.
That even to relaunch it after Meredith's sort of, discussion
Yeah.
on the show, I would say is questionable. And
Agreed.
and Meredith, let's be honest, she's struggling for a storyline. I think she is. She really is. I think she's probably threatened by Bronwyn because Bronwyn is like, that's the wealth. She's got, I feel like she's got a strong storyline that's similar to Meredith's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Bronwyn might be more interesting. So Meredith might be looking for a way to be more interesting.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Well, we also have Brittany on our screens, who I think is very interesting.
Me too. I like
And
her.
I love that scene with her and Heather playing tennis because we get an insight on Mormonism.
Yep.
And I thought it was so interesting the way Heather was saying in Mormonism, you can go to heaven without children, but not without a husband. And I think it's fascinating. I think it allows the viewers to have compassion for Brittany, and then maybe hopefully a little bit less judgment when you just like accept like this is her reality. It's what she thinks.
It's their culture.
Yeah, it's their culture, it's their belief system, and at the end of the day, heaven is a big deal to a lot of people, and you're gonna do what you can to get up there. But my favorite part about it was I love how Heather was explaining it to us in the confessional, kind of giving us that background, but then in the scene also kind of called her out on it. Like kind of was like, are we like prioritizing men over things? Like, is maybe that's what's happening?
Yeah.
And Brittany really was able to kind of take that in. I don't know how much reflection she gave it, but she took it in and I loved that.
I like her. She reminds me of Jennifer from OC.
Yes, agreed.
Like kind of unaware, but not affected yet by the Bravo world, and
Yeah.
still authentic. I think she's naive. But I like
Maybe cheap.
I like it. I think that's refreshing.
I think it's
Yeah,
entertaining.
it really is. And I love her take on Mary Cosby. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, if I were in a room with a bunch of women I didn't know and Mary spoke to me like that, I'd be like, what the hell's your problem? Like,
Yeah.
why? And we need someone like that to sort of be normal.
Agreed.
But anyway, the tennis scene was interesting. And I do love that, that the nuances of Mormonism is still a part of the show.
Yeah.
It's not lost on that drama of the ladies, which is also, epic.
Very. Yeah.
But that's what sets this franchise apart from others, is
Agreed.
that we're learning about a part of the United States that
Mhm.
I don't think is necessarily talked about in a real world way. There
Yes.
are shows about
Mhm.
the extremism within the Mormon culture.
Yeah.
What it's like on a day-to-day basis, especially for women, children, moms.
Mhm. Yeah. And then we had that moment where she does the cheers, which I thought was really weird. I did think that was very cringy and odd and like a weird TV moment, and it gave me the ick. And then Mary, as you said, like had that really kind of mean reaction. But I have a hot take.
Oh, tell me. Tell me.
I'm not fully against mom shaming,
I'm listening.
and I'll tell you why. Some moms do fucking suck.
Are you okay? Keep going.
Some moms suck. Some moms are not good moms. And I'm not saying this is Brittany. We don't know anything about what happened between her and her children. We have no clue. So I'm not saying I'm judging her. But when people are like, don't shame me as a mother, I'm like, maybe you need to be a little shamed as a mother right now.
Ooh.
And that's going to get me some stick.
Yep.
But when I think about fathers,
Yep.
we all know fathers can fucking suck.
Yeah.
And just because you're a father doesn't mean you're a good one. And I think just because you're a mother doesn't mean that you're a good one. And you should be held accountable for, like, for example, Tamra Judge. Like, I'm not speaking to her as a mother in general, but the situation she's handling with her daughter, I can tell you is fucked up. And I can tell you she's handling it completely incorrectly. And she would consider that mom shaming. And if that's mom shaming, then I'm happy to mom shame.
Wow. Wow. That's a throwdown. You just dropped the mic. I would say, I'm not a mother, first of all. And I have a difficult relationship with my mother. That being said, I have an experience and an opinion about my relationship and my experience. When I hear children, adult children in particular, sharing their perspective of being raised by whoever, especially in the Bravo world, let's just say that, I tend to take their side. And when we're talking about Tamra and her daughter Sid, and their relationship is estranged, but Sid is an adult and she has taken to social media to share her experience. And that's where I think a mom should probably stop and listen and take pause, right?
Yeah.
So and there's no judgment, but purely based on those perspectives, I think there is a time and a place to, evaluate yourself and maybe stop and take that feedback. Mom shaming, though, I think that there could be some different forms of it. Like I've seen it on Real Housewives of New Jersey, and has been a deep and dark, like some language is hurtful and harmful and not helpful. So it's all about, I think, the approach.
How you do it. Yeah, I think it's how you do it. Like, for example, I think we saw in the trailer for Salt Lake, someone made a comment about Lisa's parenting with, like, her son playing video games or something along those lines. That, to me, is mom shaming, where it's like, however they want to parent their children is one thing. But when I think things get rocky and you are acting sometimes like the child instead of like the parent, you deserve to be mom shamed. That's my distinction of, like, what you do, what your kids are allowed to go, if they're not allowed to go, if they're allowed to drink, if they're allowed to smoke weed. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
That's weird when people get involved in that. But it's like, bad moms exist. So,
and I feel like in those situations when we need to have those conversations, I feel like it's better to hear it from someone that loves you and cares about you and is has a good, strong, that you are going to hear it with, like, not with love rather than anxiety and criticism, and see that as an opportunity to grow. Unfortunately, since we are talking about Tamra, just from the appearance from, the outside, it does appear that Tamra has listened in this situation. It's an unfortunate one because it's so, her daughter, what she shares on social media is heartbreaking if it's accurate.
Yeah, it is. Agreed.
Not out there.
Yeah. So then back to Brittany.
Yeah.
I thought it was very odd how hard Bronwyn came for Brittany. I was a bit taken aback by it. I'm like, what has this girl really done to you for you to be this upset at her? I really didn't get it. And it didn't sit right with me. And I appreciated Lisa, like, kind of getting involved and being like, dude, like, can you relax here, And I know Bronwyn was upset that Lisa kind of didn't stick up for her a little bit more. But it's like, sometimes you don't deserve to be stuck up for, especially when you're just, like, randomly going for this girl who, like, called your outfit a costume. Like, is that the worst thing? A girl
early for Bronwyn to just be like, hey.
Agreed.
Like, yeah, too much. But what happened to Miley? May
I don't know. Who is she?
She is a friend.
Friend of, is she a real friend of, or just like a friend that they're kind of having?
A website and everything. Like, she is a part. And I heard her say come 2 words.
Yeah, I heard her say 2 words.
And she looks interesting. I want to know what's going on. Why?
What was interesting too is someone said you were talking about both of us. I remember what the moment was, but
Huh?
she got involved. I was like, wait, what was she saying about her too? I want to know.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
was
I
like,
really
wait,
wish I would help her.
the editors really said, we're cutting that one out.
Totally.
Yeah, completely.
I'm disappointed, to be honest, because she's a diverse person.
Where is
And
she from?
she is from California, as I understand.
Yeah.
And she moved to Utah. She's a model. She's a mom of 4. She's
Oh,
beautiful. Yeah.
wow.
And I do believe that she has roots somewhere else, but I don't know where.
Oh, interesting.
But anyway, she looks interesting. Like, I just want to hear from her.
Yeah, agreed. I'm excited to see if she brings anything to the table because right now Brittany's kind of outshining her. Do you have any other Salt Lake City thoughts before we move on to OC? Any opinions from this week?
Well, Lisa, I think Lisa is sort of trying to be the head bitch in charge this season. I mean, it's the vibe is there from
Yeah.
the get go. So I'm really excited to see how it all shakes down because I think Bronwyn will probably threaten her at some point because we know Lisa has a fragile ego. So it's going to be a fun season. I think I'm really excited.
Well, did you see on Watch What Happens Live, Lisa said that Bronwyn was being kind of the villain this year?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Isn't that see?
See, you were on spot on. Spot on.
Yeah. So Bronwyn, I think it's going to be very, very juicy. But I do think there could be it could be messy with Whitney also. I'm just waiting to see how that all shakes out. But yeah, other than that, it was another bang up, awesome episode.
Yeah, it was. It was really
So
good. Okay.
Hey, Orange County.
Are we ready for OC, baby?
Yes.
Very, very good. Eddie versus Ryan. Whose side are you on?
Okay. Like, when I was watching the episode, I felt so uncomfortable for Eddie. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to like he looked like he was miserable.
Yes, he did. He
And
really did.
embarrassed by his wife.
Yes.
And it looked also like he had been there before many times. You know what I mean? Like he looked like he was an abused husband a little.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked like he was tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Very tired. Yeah.
He looked like he was tired.
So while watching the episode, I felt for him. I really did. But the way Tamra spoke to Ryan and spoke about him last season, I feel for Ryan and Jen because when you listen to the podcast that she's so upset about, there's nothing. She's gaslighting him like she was gaslighting him the whole time.
And I love that producers were like, so he actually didn't comment on her family at all. He actually said, I don't want to comment on her family because I don't live in that household. So I just find it very interesting. But like, as we know, like, I wish I could get some accountability from Tamra. I wish I could see her being like, you know what, maybe I did exaggerate that, but we know it's literally never going to happen. So I might as well not hold my breath on that one. Are you starting to like Ryan?
Oh, yeah, I am. Because, I mean, obviously, again, just, I have not done any research on the situation with his relationship with the bookie, who has alleged to have misappropriated some funds of an athlete. But without knowing all of that, putting that aside, I think he's actually the voice that we've needed on OC for quite some time. And I'm really glad Shannon wasn't there for this conversation. I'm really glad that Tamra was sort of exposed. Also, I have to give a shout out to the editors and the producers who chose those specific. The edits were damning to Tamra. The stumbling out the door, the side eye of Eddie, the spilling of the
drink. Eddie saying, please don't serve her anymore.
Yeah. It was, they were setting up this conversation. And I think 5 years ago, it could have been edited in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
not to really expose
Mm-hmm.
that side of that event, but
Yeah.
they did, and it was more truthful, I think, than we've ever seen Tamra on a Real Housewives episode. So I thought it was enlightening, and I felt like Ryan isn't the big asshole that Tamra wants us to believe he is. And what he said at the very last voiceover of of the episode,
Yeah.
where Ryan is just like, Eddie is soft. He has no job. I felt sore, even worse for Eddie because
Yeah.
he had. I
Mhm.
think so.
Fuck no. No. Literally, fuck knows. I do feel bad for Eddie. And that moment was so cringe where they didn't hug each other. I was like, oh my God, get me out of here.
So
Well, speaking of Tamra and just kind of like dogpiling on how impressive it is that she really just like never fails to show me that she can truly be horrid,
yeah.
that butt dial
Oh, oh,
was so fucked up.
go girl,
I
go girl.
could not believe the entertainment she was getting from it, knowing that cameras were there, knowing that it was a private moment that she didn't know, that Shannon did not know would be out on TV and obviously make the edit, was so disgusting.
Did you hear? Shannon said hello.
After, yeah,
She now, like, she
yeah,
realized, oh shit,
I'm
she
on
was
the phone.
crying and said hello, and then friggin' Tamara just hangs up.
Yeah,
She's.
no,
I don't know if Tamara realizes how bad that scene made her look. I mean,
yeah.
it was not.
It's not what she thought it was. It's not what she thought it was.
No,
And
no.
I felt like I was intruding listening to that. I felt bad for listening to Shannon in a private moment having a breakdown. That's not for me to be there for. Like, that's not what I signed up for with reality TV. Not with real big shit. Like, no, thank you. I don't feel good with that. That makes me feel quite icky.
It was it was awkward and awful, and I would hope none of my friends would ever do that to me, ever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I should put that out there. If I ever butt dial anybody, please, like, hang up
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Let's make a pact right now.
No, I actually had a situation a few weeks ago where my friend was dating this guy, and him and I have like a own relationship as well. So like I'm friends with him. Friends is a stretch, but I know him. And they were in a fight, and she was showing me their text messages, and we accidentally butt dialed him and we were talking shit about him, and he hung up within like 10 seconds. And I was like, thank God he has some integrity,
Yes.
because um it wasn't great for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's not bad. He's not bad.
As I thought.
But yeah, I'm just really feeling for Shannon. I'm also really feeling for Gina.
Oh, I know. The trap, you mean with Travis and all that?
Yeah. And I feel like
Yeah.
she can't tell us what's happening because it is legal. And she's like, I know it's frustrating that I can't fully explain it, but it's legal. And the thing that gets me the most and really makes me feel for her the most is that I feel like shaking her and saying, you are literally giving the ex-wife exactly what she wants. You are letting her fucking win. Like, don't let her win. Like, I wish, and I understand in Gina's situation, divorces can be complicated. Being in a relationship, if people are getting divorced, like, is really a lot. It can be a lot to bear. But, and I don't want to diminish any of that, but I'm like, girl, don't let the ex-wife win. Fuck that bitch. Like, come stronger together. Like, don't let it divide you. But it's hard. It's hard.
I find at every season, I'm more impressed with Gina
Yeah.
as a woman. Like,
Yeah.
she is really standing in her power
Yeah.
this season. And particularly when she's trying to manage the narrative about Travis, because
Yeah.
you can tell that she's has to be careful about how she describes it. And it's almost like she's speaking like a lawyer or
Yeah.
journalist to some degree in
Yeah.
being very aware of the words because they
Yeah.
all matter
Yeah.
in these situations, and they could come back to haunt her. And
Mhm.
Tamara should take some lessons from her, in terms of how to control your emotions. and not put yourself first. And she is, from all of the information that's being presented, it seems like she's making choices that aren't necessarily about her, but about her children.
Yeah.
So she's putting her kids first.
Yeah. And that's necessary.
It really is.
Also, another interesting moment, the episode of Heather and Terry having that hot mic.
So I see the editors are really,
Yeah, they're getting their hands dirty.
love it. And I want more of that.
Me too. I love it.
It's refreshing to see. It's almost like the audience, the viewers, longtime viewers like us, are getting an extra layer of juice. Like, it's so great.
It's really good.
Control. She's a control freak. I'm not surprised by that moment at all.
No, me
She's
neither.
a control freak. That is her personality. And I think it's probably one of the reasons why their marriage has been so successful. And they've made some good choices in terms of, real estate and investments. They are a partnership through and through, and you have to be able to be honest.
And you also have to be able to demand respect, and in certain areas. And I know people are giving her shtick for it and are saying like, she's overproduced, she's overproducing herself. I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, you're going to protect your relationship. You're going to protect how people view your relationship. And let's say, forget the cameras. If I'm out with, I don't have a boyfriend, but let's say I had a boyfriend and we were out at dinner and he like talked down to me in front of our friends, I would be like, you don't do that. Like,
exactly.
we don't do that in front of other people. You don't do that. And I know she said in front of the cameras, which makes us go, oh, she's being all fake. I'm like, I get her. I would also be like, you're not going to talk to me that way in front of, now it's millions of people. Forget the dinner table. Like, it is millions of people are going to be watching that. Don't do that. It's not cool. We have more respect for each other than that.
And it's also impressive because a lot of young women watch these shows. And I hope that that is something that someday a woman will be in a situation and remember that episode and go, I don't think so. I deserve a hell of a lot more than that. That's not okay with me. This is a good example that Bravo is choosing to share with the audience in this season. And I want more of it. I want more of it.
And what's your take on Katie?
I love Katie.
Do you think she's going to be a one and done?
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not. She's not an Anne Marie.
No, she's not an Anne Marie.
She's just smart. And I think Heather is, the fact that she's ruffled Heather's feathers is awesome. That's great. Like, she's not afraid. And that's great. And her and Jen have a great, like, they're best friends from what I gather. I heard Katie on Watch What Happens Live, and she mentioned that she texts every day. So I feel like Jen and her are the future of this franchise.
That would be great. I would be into that.
I really do. I think that Heather, this is totally I'm just speculating here, but I think Heather will eventually shift over to Beverly Hills.
You think so?
Well, because she's now living there, right? And it sort of seems like a better fit. But Emily is my all-star this season. I'm loving her storyline. I'm loving her frankness. So Emily, Katie, Gina, and Jen. It's a great.
I like them. I like their vibe. But I will say, I don't know if Heather will go to Beverly Hills.
Tell me.
Because Heather likes being the big fish in the small pond.
I agree. Yeah.
I think she would maybe try out Beverly Hills, but I think she prefers that she has this kind of power, I don't know what to call it.
You're right.
Power play kind of on the women. She could be like, I'm the one getting the private jet. I'm the one doing the party. And I would be intrigued to see her in a pond with similar sized fish. But I don't know if she would bite that. But maybe she would, because Beverly Hills is such an iconic franchise that so many people watch. It's like, I think one of the highest rated of the Housewives shows, or highest viewed. So it would be interesting though.
Well, her with like Kyle and Erica, my God, that Ed Sutton,
I would
they're all the same level of.
Yeah.
You're right. I think Heather could get mixed. Like, you wouldn't have noticed her as much as you notice her now.
Agreed.
But at the same time, the vibe that's happening on Orange County is one of like, chill the F out. Like, Heather needs to know that she's not untouchable. And there will be, occasions with this. I think there will be changes coming, but with the new
Yeah.
cast, especially if Katie stays, you got to get over it, man.
Yeah.
Get in line. Like,
Agreed.
you know,
Do you have any other OC opinions from this week's episode that I didn't mention?
no, but I'm very interested to see how this, because after the episode, so much has happened on Instagram with
Yeah.
cease and desist orders and, um, everyone calling out Tamara and Tamara putting her foot in her mouth over and over again. I can't, and they haven't filmed the reunion yet. So I'm even more invested in this season now. I know.
Such a good point.
And if Vicky is, I mean, the season started with Shannon being the focal point and Tamara going after Shannon. Now Tamara's going to go after another. So it's just going to be, and Vicky was a friend of in the beginning. Well, she's still that layer. There's so many layers that we're going to have in the end of the season and the reunion. I think it's going to be one to watch. And of course, I'm really excited for New York this week. So,
Oh my God, it's this week already?
yes.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
I think it's October 1st or Tuesday. Is that Tuesday? That's Tuesday. So, no, we have a full slate. Except
Oh my
for
God, that's so exciting.
Hello, Jack. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, great. I love that. Oh my God. Okay, any other thoughts, opinions before we conclude the episode?
I think that's it. This was really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. You were great. I love chatting with you. And for people listening, we were chatting a lot before we started the episode. So you will definitely be welcome back whenever you like. And it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you all for listening to this week's episode of That's My Opinion Pod. And I'll see you next week for the fucking Roni reboot. I'm so excited. So have a good week, guys.